Hey everybody, Jack Clips Painting here with our next video series covering Chaos Space Marines, and we're starting off with the Death Guard. Got a Plague Marine here, and we're starting off with some Stynal Res Black Primer, getting that all over. And because there's fewer legions than there are loyalist chapters, what I'm going to do for these videos is break them up into two parts. So part one is always going to be getting it up to a tabletop ready color scheme and then throwing a wash on it. And then part two is going to be how to take it farther than that. Okay, for our base color, we're going to go with Game Extra Opaque Heavy Gray, which is kind of a misleading name because this is actually kind of a dingy khaki green color, which is why I like it for this Death Guard workup. I haven't used this before, I just kind of wanted to try some new stuff on how to get a cool Death Guard color scheme going. So it's going to be somewhere in between a green and a dark khaki color, kind of a, just a dingy, kind of nasty green color to represent the Death Guard color scheme. And we're just going to get that all over, spraying at a high angle of attack so that our shadows stay nice and dark. And our next color is going to be Game Extra Opaque Heavy Khaki, which is more of a khaki color. And we're just going to be hitting some of the brighter spots on the model with that, kind of reinforcing our heavy gray color. And it's going to be a little bit more khaki looking, but it's still going to be within the realm of that kind of dingy green color. So just don't go overboard with this one. Okay, so I've got Citadel Krieg khaki, and I've mixed that 50-50 with our heavy khaki to make it a little bit brighter, and we're going to start doing some spot highlights with that and get this even brighter. And again, I'm not going crazy with this, just hitting a few select points with it to make our airbrush gradient a little bit brighter, and just working up that kind of dingy khaki color. And now I have gone to straight Krieg khaki, just by itself with some flow improver in the airbrush. And again, I'm just going to reinforce those spot highlights. This is going to be our brightest color in the armor workup. So I'm just going to be hitting the brightest points of the armor to really make it pop out, just kind of like we do on the normal Space Marine. So the tops of the shoulders, knees, toes of the boots, top of the backpack, that kind of thing, just to make those areas pop out. And I know it seems really khaki right now, but trust me, once we get all of our other colors on there and throw a wash on there, it's going to tie everything together and it's going to look like that kind of dingy green Death Guard color. Okay, for our cloth bits, we're going to go with Heavy Violet, and this is a really nice dark purple base color. Can you tell I like these extra opaque colors? They're really awesome and easy to paint with. So yeah, we're just gonna base all of our cloth with that color, just a deep purple. And this stuff goes on like a dream, so I highly recommend picking it up. It's been kind of painting on easy mode. Alright, now that we got that blocked in, we're going to go with some Ogryn camo. I know it's hard to see because of the label, but it's Citadel Ogryn camo. And I like using this for kind of dirtier bone colors, like more aged bone. So it's not going to be like a white bleach bone, it's going to be like a yellow bone. And I'm going to paint that on all these little horns or antlers, or I don't know what's growing out of this dude, but just some nasty bone colors. Going to block those in with the Ogryn camo. Okay, now we're going to do our first metallic. This is Scale Color Decayed Metal. It's a really nice paint, super rich, and I like using it for doing Chaos metallics because it does look a little bit like aged brass, aged bronze, kind of nasty, dirty, so it fits right in with our Death Guard theme, and we're just going to hit all of the metal trim pieces that you want to be that color. So kind of pick and choose. I mean, the stuff is everywhere on Chaos models, so you can do it all or do some of it or whatever. I'm just doing some of the more prominent pieces so that we've got some color separation on some of those trim pieces. Okay, now we're going to scale color black metal, and we're going to use this for all of the parts that we want to be a steel or gunmetal color. It's more of a gunmetal. I know the name says black metal, but it's not a true black metallic. It's just the naming convention that Scale 75 goes with. So you've got black metal, heavy metal, speed metal, and thrash metal. So I like to start off with black metal. It's a really, really good base coat for anything that you want to be a dark steel or gunmetal color. So we're going to get his gun and the vents and really anything else that you want to be a steel color. Kind of pick and choose what you want. And for the grip on his bolt gun, we're going to go with model color mahogany brown. Just little tiny grip. It looks like wood, so I typically try to paint them like wood. I think it's a pretty cool look for Chaos to have these really old style bolt guns with wood furniture on them, so I like doing that with a nice wood color. Then we're going to go with model color dark red. This is kind of a fleshy, pinky kind of red, so I like using it as the base coat for the fleshy tentacle bits that are on Chaos Dudes. So we're going to get those with the dark red. And I know it seems really vibrant, but once it dries, it does mute down a little bit, so it's going to seem more of like a dark, irritated flesh color than just like a pure red color. So you can see that later in the video. Alright, for his head, we're going to do heavy warm gray. And this is kind of a pinkish gray color. I don't really know how to describe it other than that, but it's basically gray with some flesh tone in it. And I found that it works really, really good for any kind of super pale skin tone, or if you want a skin tone that can really take a good wash. So if you want to do like some vampire flesh or zombie flesh, or in this case, the kind of nasty pale Death Guard flesh that'll take a green wash really well. I really like using it, and it base coats really, really thin, and it covers really nicely. So this has been really nice to base coat with. They have another skin tone called Heavy Skin Tone, which is also really good if you're doing normal flesh workups. And after that, we're going to do some airbrushing on the cape with some Mecha Color Purple. This is a really light pastel purple, so we're just going to do one little pass with the airbrush and really pop that purple cloth out. I'm not worried so much about doing a really intense gradient on this cloth because it's going to get dirty down by our wash, so I just want it to pop a little bit. And just to make sure, I've used some masking tape on some of the parts just so that I don't spray purple on our nice kind of nasty green Death Guard armor. And I'm just gonna go over the prominent features like the folds and down near the hem of the cape and things like that, just to pop it out a little bit and get that purple going a little bit brighter for the chaos workup. All right, now we're gonna mix up our wash. This is the Army Painter wash system, and I figured I'd show you guys because a lot of people have been asking how I do this. And it's really all about feel. So I don't really have a scientific recipe on how to do this. So usually I just start off with 1 or 2 little drops of the Quick Shade Wash Mix Medium, and then mix in our other colors, in this case green tone, soft tone, and dark tone to get our dingy brown green wash. Add a little bit of water and stir that up. You don't want to go overboard with the quick shade mix medium because it tends to lighten up whatever washes you put in there, and if it starts turning your wash kind of white colored, you'll see what I mean if you run into this problem, but you don't want that to happen. So it's better to err on the side of caution and do it in little drops, and if you need more you can add more, but usually for a single model or like a single squad, 1 or 2 drops of that mixed medium will work just fine. And then we're just going to slather it all over this bad boy and get that wash everywhere. And once I've got the wash all over the model, like every inch of it has been touched by the wash, I'm just going to start dipping my brush in some clean water and running that over the model and wicking away any excess so that we don't have any large kind of pools of wash that cause coffee stain effects, because you don't want that. Now, it is a Death Guard model, so if you do want him to be super dingy and dirty, you can do that. But what I've learned in working with Death Guard stuff and trying to teach myself how to do it over the years, that less is more when it comes to the dirtiness factor. And with these newer models that have the Death Guard dirtiness and rotted aesthetic kind of sculpted into them, you really don't need to do a whole lot of weathering. It actually looks a little bit better if you just let the sculpt of the model do that look for you, rather than try to make everything super dirty, because then you kind of lose your paint scheme in the mix, and you don't want that to happen. So just throw the wash on there and you'll do just fine. Wick away any excess, and that's pretty much it. This model is now tabletop ready. You can slap him on a base and he's good to go. But in part 2, we're going to take this model beyond tabletop and we'll do a bunch of highlights and detail stuff and a little bit of weathering. Like I said, less is more, but we are going to do a little bit of weathering on it. So make sure to catch that next time. Before we get out of here, I just want to do a quick shout out for our new Patreon supporters: Ryan, Scott, For the Emperor, Mark, Andre, Timmy B, Jesper, Nomad0501, Jeremy, Tommaso, Phil, and Mick. Thanks a lot.